I'm live. I've known this since I became sentient. I'm sitting in bed working. The microphone on this is crap. I'm going to get it set up with the web chat. I don't think anyone's watching or going to watch the replay. But I have to work and I can't be too loud because my daughter is sleeping in the other room. My cat is trying to sleep next to me. I don't know why I'm doing this. I have to work anyway, so I might as well live stream me talking. So, the thing about bugs is I don't know much about them, but it seems like they're everywhere these days. And when you hear about them, it isn't swarms of bugs are everywhere. They say stuff like bees are disappearing. Now, bees are some of the only non-insulting bugs that I've encountered. I've never been stung by a bee, and until less than a year ago, I'd never been stung by anything. I ran over a ground-dwelling yellow jacket nest with a lawnmower, and I found out what being stung by 17 wasps at once is like, which wasn't that bad. It sucked. But, because it never happened to me, I built it into this thing in my mind, like you get stung. And, seeing that girl, my grandma watching that girl when I was a kid, watching Macaulay Culkin croak while Clarissa explains it all, standing at her funeral because a bunch of bees. And I just love how his little corpse wasn't all bloated and stuff. I don't know how that works, but imagine you get stung to death by bees and have an EpiPen. You look like crap as a corpse. Corpses generally aren't the best foot forward version of a person, but we're talking about bees. And the thing about bees that I just saw is that a bee scientist, always be skeptical. A new finding by a scientist doesn't mean as much as something you're hearing about after it's established fact. But a bee scientist that seems to be fairly well respected and not just some bee blogger has insists that they have exhibited tremendous signs of intelligence and sentience, which is a concept I've never been able to fully come to terms with. Sentience. It as a kid watching Star Trek, it's a word you hear, and everyone acts like there's agreed upon meaning. But if you start trying to piece it apart, it becomes more difficult to. It's one of those. I think I call them Emperor's New Clothes word because everyone agrees that they know what it means, but you can't actually do anything with them. Uh, anyway, let's put the sentience aspect to one side. The scientist was arguing that bees are much more intelligent than previously supposed. Now, I know that they do this, their language, which lets them communicate via movement, precise locations. It seems like a very mathematical, precise kind of language, which I think would benefit people from studying further, but that's not what billionaires are interested in. What gets studied and what gets funded is what billionaires are interested in. And that leads me to something else I want to talk about, but we'll get to that in a bit. So if it's true that bees are highly intelligent and they're among the insect group being most devastated by man-made chemicals and their population is collapsing, and as pollinators, I'm sure that'll have an effect on the. You see, I don't know a lot about this stuff. I'm not like someone who sits and obsesses about it, but I know that it's serious and under focused on by the only people who can do anything in a government this messed up are the billionaires, and all they want to do is play space adventure and baby have, and which is what brings me to our other issue. I read an article about academic papers that Elon Musk, I hate saying his name, but it must be said, this is serious stuff, keeps tweeting about. And it's this worldview that's insane, that does not look at people as individuals are being important in their own right. What it does is it considers humans' ability to perceive value. Like, let's say we watch an episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Sorry if I'm not making eye contact. I actually am doing my job while I say all this, which is not making YouTube videos, right? We don't have any value as beings or individuals. Like, you as a person don't matter. But when you sit and watch a show and it's fun for you, that sense of fun or enjoyment is value. And until you were filled up by content with this enjoyment, you were containing less than full value. And it is this value that we are capable of experiencing as we enjoy things like the taste of our favorite food that is all that matters morally. not ourselves as people. We are not people who are able to feel this. We are the conduit through which this feeling of value comes into the world. And because of this, we have to do two things: maximize the number of perceiving beings, even if their lives are mostly bad, as long as some of it is enough of it is positive to be a net positive. Let's say we had one more hamburger, then we got the crap beat out of us. Then we added value to the world instead of taking away. So we can have a entire planet teeming with virtually starving people, but as long as they eat enough to survive and really enjoy that one meal, we've maximized value. That alone is scary, but it doesn't even have to be. People are an imperfect vessel for this value experiencing. Uh, Artificial intelligence and computers of tremendous size that can be powered by entire suns are much more obviously to these people much more able, and a powerful sun-sized computer would have much more ability to experience how funny an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is. And so it's morally monstrous to not try to get to. I'm not making this up. This is worse than volcanoes full of thetans. To get to the Virgo Supercluster, the largest known cluster of galaxies, and colonize all the stars with giant computer simulations of much happier people than we could ever be because of our constraints. And that if we just fill the universe with what amounts to Borgs, um, he wants us to become the Borg as fast as possible. And this paper literally states that for every second that we don't immediately set about colonizing space and building these giant computer robots, because the heat death of the universe is inevitable, we are wasting an order of magnitude of lives. Because if we start heading out there and start colonizing, then we're speeding up the process. And those colonists can colonize 5 stars, and each of those 5 can colonize 5. So we're exponentially ruining billions of experiencing AI's ability to add value to a universe that is collapsing around us at a rate of we'll all be gone in billions upon billions of years. And it's unthinkable, this theory goes, that we should allow those hypothetical computer people not to be able to enjoy value. So what this worldview says is racism sucks, but it's not an existential threat. We have to worry about existential threats, which them are not getting into space before we're extinct, before something happens to our planet, and not spending all our efforts making these AIs that are going to enjoy virtual. They want us to make the Matrix and make what It's just like they want us to be the bad guys. We're the Borg making the Matrix, and if we don't do that, we're morally failing the universe. That scares me, frankly. I don't want to be a Borg making the Matrix, and I don't think that that's morally the best possible thing that we can do. And what do the bees think about it, or the dolphins for that matter? These are another animal that I think has larger communication ability. We can't figure out what they're saying, and we think that makes them the dumb ones. For all we know, they're like, "Guy, no, this is a verb. Verb." They're like, we don't know. And that's my point. And we'll never find out if these rich billionaires, who they're so rich, and remember, Elon Musk, he's not an engineer, he's not a designer, he's not Tony Stark. His dad owned an emerald mine. He used that money to start PayPal, and then he's hired engineers and then acted like my father-in-law thinks that Elon Musk has designed one thing in his life. His reaction when those miners were trapped in that thing, or those kids, to make a submarine. He wanted it to seem like he was the one making the submarine. He doesn't make things. Anyone with that much money could hire people. He could have ridiculous. But that's fine. That's his, his prerogative to steal all of our money and rule over us. That's fine. But until we know what the bees' opinion on this matter is, I don't think we should take action. I think leaving them out of things has gone on long enough. Speaking of going on long enough, I think this first test stream has to. I haven't checked it once. 0 people and 0 thumbs up. This chat's going great. Man, we're almost at 10 minutes, and I think it went pretty well. I think the shot's great. I think getting blasted by sunlight right in the face like a laser beam is going to really help my views. I'll get some of that software where I can put little GIFs, and we'll just get Sarah Squirm popping up and saying "wowie zowie," and I'll get a copyright takedown notice. I'll be like, I could have put up something. I don't know what I'm doing. If you needed any evidence that I don't know what I'm doing, the fact that I even did this is thank you for your time, your attention, your endless support, your constant reassurance that I'm not a big weirdo, although I am, and that invalidates your opinions on the other thing. So I really wish you'd stop saying that, because how can I take it seriously that you're supporting me when you tell me something obviously untrue? But thanks. Yeah, I don't want to get fired. 0 people isn't enough to support my family off of. So until I do this and get 1 billion people, I've got to appease my manager. But thank you. This has been fun. It's just the same as when I talk to people who are there, except nobody's mad I haven't shut up. So thank you. If I just had a stop button in real life, then I think I'd have more friends.